Yo, 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 we are back with another one in Ski's opinion. The show about everything, nothing at all, you guys, with your gracious and humble host, Ski. How we doing? So, we got a couple of things to touch on this episode. It's been an interesting week. Uh, a few things that I wrote down I want to tap into. So, first thing I want to speak on is my African, panhandling African brother, Dr. Umar Johnson. So, Dr. Umar Johnson, Prince of Panhandling Africanism, is back. He jumped online the last few days talking about he paid off the debt to, the Marcus Garvey, Frederick Douglass. Is it the Frederick Douglass Marcus Garvey, school for Pan-Africanism, panhandling Africanism. But let me stop. Okay, but anyway, he's back. So, Dr. Umar jumped out of the window with, yeah, forget the haters, we back. The doors will be open. We're gonna have a movie night in spring, but you can only come if you identify as an African. So now you already exclude people. That everybody who donated to your school was they African? Do they identify as an African? Did you have a problem taking that money? You didn't. Umar is right back to the same tricks and scheming ways that he was before. Umar spoke on, what's going on, how, he opened the doors back up. He went inside this time, actually. I think they had a chain on him before. He couldn't get in there. We couldn't see what was going on inside the building or whatever. They was trying to auction it off. But he is back. He opened the doors. He figured out some type of way to get somebody to pay the debt off so they wouldn't sell the school from him. And he's right back to his whole tricks. So he figured, since we stopped that, I could go back to ask for donations and everything. First thing that came out of his mouth after announcing that they're having movie nights in the spring, at the FDMG Academy, in the park, they park. It's a plot of grass right there. He called it a park, but whatever. So, and they're going to have movie nights there. You can only attend if, you identify as African. I'm thinking about even telling my sisters, I love my sisters, but I'm thinking about telling them that you're going to have to be natural. I'm really thinking about saying that. You probably going to have 7 females there, another 7 or 3 to 4 males there. If you do that, you can't ostracize your community. These people are part of actually helping you get donations for your school. Permanent hair, wig on, not identified as African, but probably just say I'm black, Black American, whatever you want to call it. These people have actually donated to you, and I'm quite sure with that much money that he did seem to accumulate, that he had people outside of the black race who actually donated to his cause. In the beginning, I think that they believed in it. And they probably caught on. Sorry. They probably caught on quicker than we did. What was that? When I say we, I mean black people. There's still probably a bunch of black people out there who's following and wishing and hoping that this school is going to happen. It's not going to happen, you guys. the school, yeah, he's biding some more time to be able to get more donations. First thing he say is, hit the cash app at, PayPal.me or something, whatever. Um, he's using this and has been using this school thing and donation to, fund his lifestyle. And I would say, like I said, this is my opinion, you guys. My show. I put it out there. It's a show about Ski's opinion. I think just by watching some of those videos when he thought everything was done because everything was crashing down around him, you see the addict. No, Umar. I'm gonna use that for my man. So Wayno. Go check out Wayno's show too. I do it myself. He got pretty good content on there. But yeah, no Umar, because I said done like 3 times. So he's been using it to fund himself. He's going right back to continuing doing that. He, first couple of words after, making announcements was, PayPal, Cash App me. He's trying to get paid again. And he probably will be getting paid again. Like what's crazy about it is that I think Umar can make a lot of money, probably more or just as much as he's getting off ask for donation, just by going online and doing speaking engagements. Like if he wasn't so donation crazy and stuck more so towards the message, I think he had something with his message. But he said too much money coming in from the donation. I mean, you could post that down at the bottom, donate to, the Marcus Garvey, Frederick Douglass, or Frederick Douglass Marcus Garvey School Academy, or whatever. I mean, however he said it. And not mentioning so much, and people was going to donate regardless, And then you just stick to, your speaking engagements. I heard he was getting paid pretty good doing that. But you was blowing that money like it was never going to stop. So I don't think that as far as business, I think you need to get a business partner who can actually come up with a budget on how y'all can do that if you were serious. But I'm not even going to go there because he's not serious, Umar does not want to actually open a school. He's going to keep with this facade of that's what he's trying to do. But I don't think it's ever going to happen. I think that the bulk of the people has caught on to that. It's over. So I just want to say to the brother, he's showing more rooms and halls or whatever he showed. Went from one building to another and went through the halls. And see, it's a lot of stuff that did get done in there, but it's a lot of stuff that I think that those floors, like why is the floor still not done? And then I also have another question, right? You completed that gym. You painted, you got floors in there, he got the wall. This is the wall of da. Or whatever, this is the wall of this and that. This is the Nat Turner gym. You did that first. It's a basketball court. I guess, it's a gym, you have other little stuff, but most gyms is pretty much a big basketball court. They got weight rooms, locker rooms, and, things like that, and other stuff that you can use on the gym to, gymnastics and all that. You can pull a lot through, but the base of the gym is a basketball court. So he has that, right? It's a pretty small gym if you ask me, though, because it doesn't seem that big, But I don't know how many people he's planning on having there. But I'm going to say, why was that done first, brother? Like, why you didn't get those classrooms done first? Why you didn't get the lunchrooms done next? I think gym could have been last. They could have ran around the buildings, and done little workouts or whatever in your park. You got to plot a piece of grass in between some buildings, but you could have had them do that outside of there, or you could have had them do exercise as well, because they do need that as well. Don't get me wrong, but why is the gym done first? If your main focus is on education, you guys, and y'all need to ask yourself this question: why would he finish the gym first? If this is a smart, educated brother who's talking about educating our children, to pull them along through the next generation and have them, doing some powerful thing as far as black people, then why would you do the gym? Why is gym the first thing? I had a little cousin, and this for my uncle. My uncle is Haitian. He married my auntie, and his niece and nephew. I'm not going to say their name, but um, they asked the girl when she was going to college, like, what major do you want to major in? And she said, gym. I guess gym is important to some, but she just didn't know what to say. I'm gonna say she didn't know what to say because she came up with that. Like that was what you came up with. Your thing was gym. She didn't know what else to say, so she said gym. So um maybe that's what Umar was thinking when they said, "What's the first bit you want to get done?" Umar, what do we want to work on first? Jump. This dude is crazy. And then he think, okay, because that's the easiest thing to put together. What do? You put some basketball hoops up. You lay down a rubber floor or a hard concrete floor. You really have to do nothing. You can put some epoxy paint on top of it. You can paint the walls. And you put a couple of, jungle gyms and pull-up bars or whatever on the wall, and you can say, okay, yeah, this is the gym. Look at what we're doing. It look like so much is done, but you're only showing the gym. And like I said, that's the easiest thing to put together. That's why that could have waited last, and that's the least important thing, I think, that should have went into the school. I don't want to spend too much time on Umar, but I just think that the brother is hilarious, and he's doing a disservice, to people who actually out there trying to get black people on one accord and more educated and be more serious. Like his whole facade is a joke now, and that's regardless if we want to claim him or not. The brother is from Philadelphia. He does have some lineage to, the great Frederick Douglass. He's one of us, so we have to accept some type of responsibility within that. So he's hurting all of us with this, because in the beginning, I'm not going to even lie, I even kind of bought into what he was talking about, and not so much he was going to do it, but I thought that was a great idea of what he was coming up with. I do think that we do need schools around here, that we have a choice to send our kids there so that they can learn things that's more so susceptible to us and what's going to actually help and better us as a people, right? So I'm going to say, I say that to say this. Umar is our brother. Umar is from our community, and it's up to us to get this brother back on the straight and narrow, back on the path that he needs to be on to clean up his reputation, because he's making all of us look bad as a person that's a part of our community, as black people. So that's what I want to say about Umar and that situation. Peace and panhandle Africanism. No, let me stop. I'm just playing. But brother, get it together. You still got a lot more work to do, right? So I'm gonna jump into this next topic. It's gonna be what's going around the internet. Everybody been speaking about it. I wasn't going to speak on it, but I said, well, you know what? I'm gonna go ahead and talk about the situation since. Coffee. The situation with Cardi B and Nicki Minaj, and I'm just gonna say everybody else because it seems like that Cardi and Nicki is, let me say, they are grasping most of the conversation, right? The back and forth is more so between them two. So I would start with, I guess I could say this started with Cardi, right? With Cardi calling out JT and saying a bunch of foul things about her and Uzi, and JT responding, coming back and saying foul things about her and her situations, right? So they went back and forth, and the Breakfast Club, chimed in and they said, and I think everybody feel like this. I do as well. You guys are rappers, right? So rap. JT, I think, was responding to something that Barty said in a bar on her album, in one of the songs on her album. So it started with rap, and Cardi took the first shot. I think she came back, Cardi got upset and started ranting, on Twitter and everything to go back at the girl, which has nothing to do with rap. But I think that JT should have came back with another shot. She can rap, You actually got some skills, you got bars, but she didn't take that route. So they went back and forth, She saying Cardi was with cheating guy, this and that, and then she went from one to another. Now this dude is doing this and that, whatever, to it, right? And then that went for a minute, and then JT said, she was in the studio and, music coming Friday. So tomorrow, I'm recording this on Thursday, you gotta know, but tomorrow we should see what's new, what's the music that she's gonna come out with, what's the hit. So I'm assuming it's coming though, because they keep showing her in the studio. So I commend JT for actually taking it to the booth, bringing bars. The next thing that you heard was a leaked audio that, I'm gonna lie, I really respect Cardi because she usually tell the truth and be transparent and 100 with everybody. But for her to lie so that they didn't leak this audio when other people, like I said, my man Wayno, said he tried to post it, he had to cut it down short because it was a copyright strike on it. Warner Atlantic owns it. That's her label. They own the rights to this video, which I don't know why they would own the rights to that and why they would even want to be a part of it because, well, I kind of do know why they would want to because everybody's going to put it out so they could put it out on their platform and get the streams and views or whatever from it and monetize it themselves. So that does make sense. So I'm not going to say I don't know why they would want it to associate themselves with it, but that's their artist and there's money to be made there. So she's saying that she didn't leak it. The guy saying that you did leak it, because they didn't. And then she said something about certain things on it that shows that she didn't do it or whatever. And because of how they cut up the, no, you cut that up, y'all, or your people did, because y'all own it. He can't put it out if y'all own it, right? So that's BS, but she's going off on Ice Spice, and Ice Spice said something on an album that came out 2 years ago, you got? The Y2K album, a line or a bar, something about Barty thinking that she pretty, but she not, and she mad because I took her spot or whatever. It is, people always, they keep getting on Ice Spice about her not being able to rap, or her raps is like elementary. One thing I would say about her raps is they're catchy. She said a couple of lines that's pretty catchy about. She got a nice hook that go to it. Riot is going crazy with those beats for her. And then it's a bop, you guys. She popped that ass a little bit. Excuse my French, but she twerked a little bit or whatever, and she got a hit, Look at her Lotto. Now they got, whatever. I be hearing a young girl saying that, but I don't even know what it means, so I'm not even going to say it or even try to because I probably don't mispronounce it. But it's a bop. So whatever you want to say about her, she made hits. So I guess even that song, it came to Cardi's radar later, but I'm going to say it must have been a bop, for her to could go that hard about it. So this must have been heard by millions of people. Somebody must be telling Cardi. This girl took a shot at her before. But whatever. Ice Spice said she didn't, said something else. Not going to go too much into that. But this triggered Nicki to say something about it because she brought up Cardi leaking the audio. Nicki didn't have anything to do with it. Her and Cardi been having problems forever, but Nicki tell the truth, you got. And now it's coming out that they did leak the audio. Cardi people did do it, So you can't say she was a liar when she came out and said what she said. She was on point with it because it's what happened. The reality is showing that they leaked it. They own video. I mean, who else leaked it if you own it? You put a copyright strike on it so other people couldn't drop it. So you did that, right? So I'm going to say Cardi handled herself okay, but I'm going to also say she kind of didn't as well because, she's fast with the going back and forth with Nicki and both of them talking about each other kids. Well, Nicki said something first. Regardless, you guys should not put these kids in the middle of this, right? Because the kids don't have, these poor kids, they don't have nothing to do with that. Culture, Nicki calling her ugly and this and that. This is a little girl who's actually at an age now to probably even understand what you mean by saying that she's ugly. That could damage this young girl's self-esteem right now, right? So you should never bring up, or put children in this ugly, mess that you guys got going back and forth. Even though you guys acting like children, like that's a pity pack shit that you did in high school, and you went back and forth with that in high school. But it just seemed like a bunch of BS. And now Nicki come with, well, I'm she go at the Breakfast Club, Oh, you saying this and that. And she had some hilarious tags. And she said, shout out, I can't remember what she said about the boring Lauren and just with the testicles. That was hilarious. I like how Jess came back and flipped it like, yeah, I got balls and I will swing them, right? So that was a slick comeback that she did make, right? And I appreciated it. It was pretty dope. But I was going to say, that was hilarious that she came with that, but then she tagged Trump on you should lock them up and this and that. It goes back to the petty again. You said something about somebody on the West Coast. The guy came back and said something else. You straight FBI, lock this guy up and this and that, right? Which is terrible, when you ask me. But that's Nicki, you got. That's what she do. And nobody can say anything bad about her, but she can say whatever she wants to say about other people. But like I said, I'm not going to go too much into it. I didn't really want to speak on it, but I did see her find a couple of things that was funny within the situation. And yeah, you keep watching and figure out where this is going to go from here.